Hey, hi guys, hi everyone. Very good evening to everyone. So let's start today's session. And so, as the title says, right, new Thar, what makes it different? So it's going to be quite a fun session. It's going to be very different from any other session that I personally have taken or other webinars or something like you may have attended. It's going to be slightly different from that. I really want to have a good interaction with you guys. Some of you guys may be automobile enthusiasts. Some of you guys may be into the hardcore engineering stream and enjoy that kind of content. So, if anyone can unmute yourself, give an introduction or something like that, it will be great. So, anything like if you all know anything about the Thar and you would want to share, or about any modern day car that has launched recently. Like today, I was going through the newsfeed articles and came across the new Baleno and things like that, that have launched recently and quite a promising car. So I'll just share my screen and we can then get started. Quite a few people are yet joining. Welcome, welcome, who have joined just now. So, new Thar, what makes it different? Now, before we get into that, right, let us understand what, legacy cars are, or what exactly is a legacy left by an auto manufacturer. So, now, what do you understand by looking at these three cars? So, if someone could unmute, I really want to keep this interactive, so even you guys get a chance to chip in and don't. It's like 4 o'clock. People have had their lunch and things like that, and will be sleepy. So, guys, does someone want to unmute and tell me like what can you understand from these three different images? What are these three different cars, their segments and things like that?
Oh, hello.
Yes, yes, Atharva,
This is
tell me.
Atharva. So the first car is i10, and this is for daily commercial use for people around or basically driving on road. But the second car, that is Thar, it's meant for road and also for off-roading. And the third car is supercar. This is a high segment car, which the road needs to be basically the road matters for that car. So these
Okay,
are
and
various different segments.
okay, and why are these cars different from each other? Like,
So,
what's is the special defining factor of these cars?
so basically, this is a targeted audience for which the cars are developed. So for the first car, the targeted audience is middle class or people which are use this car on a daily basis. Second
Okay.
is for the enthusiasts that are motorsport enthusiast, or we can say off-roading, traveling enthusiast. And the third is
Yes.
elite level, where the target audience is rich people, basically.
Great, great. So now this is what we have understood, right? Now each car has got its own brand and its own purpose, as Atharva has pointed out. Now the first car is actually Santro, the new generation. Then after that you have Thar, and then you have the LaFerrari. Now the first car, that is the Santro, is a very economical car. It promises you to do one thing, that will take you from point A to point B. You want air conditioning, okay, you have air conditioning. You want good mileage, you have good mileage also now. Second is the new generation Thar, that is the topic for today basically. And now this car is originally was launched as an enthusiast car, but let's be honest, in India people do not see like the enthusiast community is not that massive, right? As you would find in the US or something like that, where the enthusiast community is huge, like in numbers. So in India, basically, the Thar did not do as well with the common person. So hence they had to make a couple of changes to make it good for the common person, and that's why now the current segment, a normal like a person who wants to travel to office every day also can buy, and an enthusiast also can take it off road and thrash the car completely. But that's the crux of the new the new development of all the new vehicles, is everyone in India has this mentality of kitna deti hai, and that mentality is very difficult to change as such. And then next, of course, is the LaFerrari, one of the elite performance vehicles. Now let's see what comes next. Over here, you would see the older renders of this car. Now, what am I trying? Now, what can you understand by looking at the older images? Otherwise, if you could unmute again, it would be great. And tell me, when you compare the older variant to the newer variant, what different can you see? Dharmesh, you've raised your hand. If you want, even you can speak. Atharva, continue, please.
They are more
Okay.
with
Yeah.
updated technology for meeting the Indian emission norms BS6.
Yes, yes, that is true. Apart from that, what just visually what is visible, clearly visible in these cars?
People also want some comfort, safety features. These are
True.
the certain things which are more nowadays the youngsters' aspirations.
Yes,
Design,
yes.
design
Luxurious,
improvisation.
luxuries.
Design improvisation. Suyesh, Janab, thank you for your this. Whatever you have said is actually true, and that is true on the
In
company side. We'll come to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess Dharmesh can speak, and then Suyesh.
yes, in this modern car, the most important factor is aerodynamics
Okay.
and comfort factors, and also safety features and engine tuning improvement also.
And also
Okay.
low maintenance cost. Running cost and maintenance cost should be minimal, and the life of the car should be for some more kilometers.
Yes. So, Jana, the points that you are making is actually very, it has potential and it's apt when it comes to the OEM standpoint, right? And that is absolutely true because you want a car that can run more, so that increases your brand name. Now, I guess who raised the hand? Mandy, I guess raised, and also Suyash was saying something about design. I'd like to hear about that, Suyash.
Design makes a very good point here because as the old Centro looks like very old fashioned and everyone wants the new design and uh, improvisations and no one want to compromise the ride quality also. So they need everything like in the hatchback segment and in the top segment too. So like
True.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Mandy.
even
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, even the performance of the car also improvises because most of the people like to go younger people like to go more speed, so performance of the cars may vary here in the newer.
True. Ruban, good evening. If possible, unmute and speak, Ruban. Later on, this entire session is going to be interactive. Whoever wants to speak will get a chance. Raise your hands, so that will be the best thing to do. Atharva, you have something to add to this?
Yes, from the past, we have learned that not only performance but also design matters. And today's generation first looks at the car as a design car. So basically, it does not look the internal features, what it performs, but how it looks. That matters the most now. So basically, all companies are investing in their design facilities for looking their car at the best. That's my point.
True.
Is it the
True.
connected
So now, yeah.
connected technologies? Everybody want to do
Yes.
everything sitting in the car itself,
Yes. So
compared
now
to
that
our
is everything.
internet and IoT whatnot, including.
So everything now has been interlinked, as you're saying. Now, all of y'all, you all have made many points clear over here. So I'll just sum everything up. And now, if you look at the first car, that is the Santro, right? You look at the older model and look at the newer model. Now, the older model has a specific look and has a specific features. Then you look at the newer model. It's a complete drastic day and night change, right? The newer model looks much appealing, much sharper cuts you'll have, uh, like the design will be slightly more aggressive now. But when you're looking at the Thar, both the cars are looking kind of similar. Don't you think you can confuse both of those cars? Same when you look at the Ferraris, you look at the Enzo and then you look at the La Ferrari. Now the two cars, I'm not talking about Santro, okay? I'm talking about the Thar and I'm talking about the Ferraris. These are called as legacy cars. So when something becomes a legacy car, so if a car is launched in a particular market, and in this particular market there was nothing of that segment, or no one performed that well, and then this car made a night and day shift, and that became the best car of that particular segment in that duration, and then it maybe continued on and on. So the Thar, the older model, the older design of the Thar was inspired by the Jeep styling CJ3, if I'm not wrong. So it was based on that car. And that's how people, so whenever people said the word Jeep, no one thought of the company. Now Jeep has entered in India with Grand Cherokee, with the Compass and things like that. And here, okay, now you say Jeep, you know it's a company. But first, when the word Jeep would come up, there would only be two cars in a Indian's mind, and that would be the what do you call, the Maruti Suzuki Gypsy and the Thar. These are the only two cars. So these cars are
Mahendra,
called as, yes, yes, the Mahindra Thar.
Mahendra,
Uh,
correct.
Yes. So now these are the cars that will always come to a person's mind. So now when the designers thought, like, of course, we need to upgrade, and pedestrian safety, like Jana had mentioned, safety features need to increase, because people are getting, more educated, and safety is, of course, necessary. Every car needs to, clear some safety standards, some safety norms. And that's where, these factors and comfort and things like that, everything, they just came together, and they have to now build a new vehicle. But if you're going to build a completely different car and have a legacy brand onto it, it won't work. Now, Maruti Suzuki managed to, do it with the Baleno. If you look at the older Baleno, it was a sedan, and the newer Baleno is a hatchback, which are completely different segment cars, and they use the legacy, the Baleno name. However, they managed to succeed because the car was, it was priced at a very aggressive price. The features were massive, and that's how Maruti cracked that code. But when other companies have tried to do that, name a completely, modern machine with something as a legacy name, it never worked. So when you look at a legacy styling, you can see the headlamps around, both headlamps around over here, like on the new and the older model. Then you see the side fenders, they are slightly outside. uh, Generally fenders are integrated into vehicles, but no, over here the fenders needed to be outside. The hinges needed to look a particular way, and things like that, and couple of things that were there in the older car, they had to get it into the newer car, because the first thing that journalists and people who reviewed the new car did was bring the old car, put it on an off-road track, and compare both the cars. So the new car had to be comparable in every aspect. So
Sheldon,
now
this
let's move.
Thar
Yeah.
jeep, my son has taken, but I find
Yes.
a bit difficulty, particularly it is a single door concept, particularly for us, a elderly person, getting into that, we have to fold the seats and all. He says it is a latest model, still production is not up to the supply and all, but still I feel
Yeah.
some things are to be taken feedback, particularly when four people want to travel.
Yes.
Getting into the Thar itself is for me at least, because I am a aged person, nearly 70 years. Otherwise, looking other things are definitely for a younger generation looks to be good.
Yes. So basically now, the company, when they designed this car originally, right? That time it was only the automobile enthusiast that they thought about, and they launched a car for the automobile enthusiast. They did not launch a car for a family. So now the new car, Thar, they have made changes. So if your son was given an option to buy the older Thar, he would have thought twice. Ki, okay, I have family. I may not be able to go for this car. I will go for something like a Jeep Compass. I'll go for a Tata Nexon or something like that. So the new car's main idea, and they have succeeded in doing that. Many people are buying the Thar for them as a family vehicle. And yes, of course, the car is high because it has a different the segment. It is, at the end of the, no matter how comfortable you make it, you put Rolls Royce seats into it, and you put a champagne bottle into it, and make it into a executive car. But at the end of the day, what that car is it's an off-roader. So it is going to be, the suspension is not going to be that comfortable. It is going to be a bit rugged, and things like that will carry forward. But yes, they wanted to get the common man, the everyday buyer, to buy the Thar, and that is what the company has succeeded doing. So now, the car that is there on your screen is called as the Acura NSX. Now I'll just give you a brief history about this car. So back in the day, Ferrari was crushing it right, left, and center, launching supercars, and everyone in the world knew red, sleek, low ground clearance car is going to be a Ferrari, and that was the notion back then. Lamborghini was crushing it with its Miura and then Countach and all these supercars. That's when a company called as Acura, a wing of Honda, and so Honda was building utilitarian cars, that is your everyday cars. Uh, so Acura is the brand which is the luxury and the performance segment of Honda. So Acura launched a car called as the NSX. This car was launched in 1989 and it threw the world on its head, the supercar world on its head, where this car was tuned like a Ferrari and was as reliable as a Honda. So people would not take Ferraris on, say, a countrywide tour because the supercar, it produces immense amounts of power. That much amount of power cannot be handled by the different components that are there on the car and they break down at one point of time. But this car had mediocre amounts of power. It had really good reliability. The engine would not fail all that much. The radiators would run nice and cool and things like that. The brakes were good on the car. So everything was in a very harmonious way where the power was not way out of the, out of the ballpark, but it was fast enough. So things like that were there. And this created a legacy. As I told you, the car made a name for itself. Then after the NSX, we have the newer NSX. Now, what is the similarities that you can see between these two cars? So again, time to chat. Let's go ham on this and let's. I've put both the cars beside each other. If someone would like to tell me what is similar between these two cars and what is completely different.
Aerodynamics is looks to be same, but weight of the car looks to be heavy compared to this left side car.
Okay, okay. The weight is
Maybe
actually lighter.
powerful engine for
Engine
higher
has gone
speed
up in power.
application.
Yes, the
Weight
aerodynamics
also
have
looks to be.
changed. But now, if we are just looking at it from the design perspective, you would there is one similarity. If someone points it out, kudos to that person. Come on, this is one similarity, one answer that I'm looking for. Just look at the car carefully, and then you will be able to pinpoint it. It's
Side
right in front of you.
spoilers.
One
Vent
second, one
spoilers.
second.
Yeah, the
Madhusudan, you
vent at
speak
the
first.
side.
The vent at
Side
the
of the
side.
door.
Okay, perfect, perfect. It's staring in your face. And so what if you couldn't hear what Madhusudan said is this. This is called as the side scoop. So both these cars are mid-engine cars. So basically, the engine lies between the between the two wheels. So the engine is going to lie somewhere over here in both the cars, right? And this vent is there to cool the engine down as well as to give it fresh air that it needs to breathe and give the high performance numbers that it does. And of course, a mid-engine car has got much higher balance. So now, apart from that, anything similar? There's one more thing that you will be able to see. Not very in your face, but it is yet there. I'll give you a hint. It's something to do with colors. Can someone point that out?
Little darker in right side car.
No, no, no. Anyone
For
else wants to try on that?
I think the mirrors.
No, not the mirrors. I said
on
colors.
the
Diameter of wheel.
on the
Nope, nope, no.
on
That is
the
also not the
this
right
one top of the car.
Yeah, Jen.
Top of the car looks to be here. It is a flat and it is a very aerodynamic.
Mm, that see the older car would be slightly flat because of course the technology back then wasn't there to manufacture the particular shapes that we see today. So okay, so let's not waste a lot of time
And
getting that.
in the
Yeah.
front, appealing multicolors, near front bonnet and all.
Yes, yes. So now, as Jana has pointed out correctly, like okay, the front of the car is very. It looks like the car is moving. The car to your right looks like it's going somewhere. It has to be somewhere. So it has that motion feel. But what is the legacy part in this car is the roof. So if you see this entire top part is going to be black in color over here. Okay, so all the NSX, no matter if you were driving a blue NSX, you were driving a yellow NSX, if you were driving a red NSX, the top of the car was always a black roof, and that's what they had to maintain it over here. So I was going through, the NSX designer, the head designer of Acura, when he was talking about how he has designed both the cars, like for your information. So he's designed both the cars, and when he was talking about it, he was like, so the black top was the main priority, and how to integrate that into the new car. So that is one thing. Now, this is another thing that made the NSX special. So if anyone over here plays a lot of games, right, and has played Need for Speed Underground, has played the newer Need for Speeds, or any car racing game in the past 10 years, you may know that four typical four circles at the back, like two on the right and two on the left, it is a symbol for one particular car. And whoever has played this game, they know most of the time these cars were the best, and that is the GTRs. So you have the R33, you have the R34 GTRs. All of those had those, two tail lamps. So now the tail lamps is also going to become a very key factor when we are talking about legacy vehicles. So now if you look at the NSX has got something that is called as a wraparound tail lamp. So now this thing that you see into the spoiler, that is also a light strip. Then the tail lamps down, all of these light up when the car brakes. And this is what the new NSX has. It has kind of inverted the original design. And so you have this again, an entire wraparound kind of tail lamp. So now when you look at this car, also it's a part of that legacy that it's trying to replicate. And that is what every company wants originally. Uh, when you look at a cargo, so you may be an enthusiast or you may not be an enthusiast, but there are some cars, some very few cars that you can just differentiate just by the way they look, just by the way they sound. So that is what Acura was always going for in their new NSX, where they wanted this defining feature to be there, and this wraparound tail lamp is one of these defining features. So now enough of talking about cars overseas. Here we have it, the star of the Indian off-road segment, and that is the Thar. Now this is the first initial renders of the Thar, where the Thar was basically a car meant to be taken off-road, meant to be thrashed around. I'm sorry. It was meant to be put through rivers for river crossing, taking steep climbs as much as possible. And when you look at this car, right, what you understand is there's something called as overhangs. So what an overhang is, how much a car protrudes to the front, in front of the rear wheel, and to the back of the rear wheel. So the longer it is, the less off-road capability that car will have. Because of course, if you're trying to take an uphill climb, right, people may have seen lowered down supercars scraping their front diffuser onto a pavement when it's just trying to take a speed breaker and things like that. So now by shortening your front and your rear overhang, if your car, so if there's a slope and your overhang is long, you're going to hit it. But rather, if it is short, your tire will come into contact even before your overhang can reach that kind of slope. So this gives it a very good attack angle, basically, to a very steep surface when it's trying to go. And the older Thar was peak when it came to modifications. People could modify that car for days on end, and it would support all of these modifications. Now if you could see, this is a heavily modified Thar that I've picked over here. You have a snorkel, you have most probably updated suspensions for off-road. You have a completely different front bumper that is not a stock front bumper on the car. And this is again for when it comes to bashing into objects, the car can take the beating without damaging its original body, without damaging its chassis on the inside. So many people love to modify these cars, change these cars. The wheels on this car is completely different. The tires are pure off-road tires, and people loved this car for it's wide, the capacity to make the tires wide. And when you talk about the off-road community, they want the dirt to fly onto their vehicle, for the cars to look dirty, for the cars to look rugged. So after you come back after a long trip, your car looks like it has been through hell and back. So that is what the old Thar offered to the people. uh, when we are talking on the inside, it was a nightmare for someone who's looking for comfort. The car was not meant for that at all. It was noisy, it vibrated like crazy, the suspension wasn't plush, and things like that, which of course come with an off-roader. And here we look at the newer render of the Thar. Over here again, people can modify this car, but it is not peak for modification. All that you need for a day-to-day commute is given into this car. You've got air conditioning, you've got a 7 inch infotainment system, you've got good sound systems, and if you need to carry more than two people, you can always put them at the back, and that too into bucket seats, and that's an option. or if you go with the adventure variant, you again get the row seats of the Thar. So next we will come to comparisons. Now let's look at the front of the car and try and compare these two and see what has changed and what has remained. So guys, again, let's unmute and have a good conversation.
Hi.
Yeah, Dhruv, tell me.
So the front of the car depicts the two headlights that remains the same. The front grille, the shape of it, uh, the over shape of it, which the front grille and the uh, headlights combine to form a shape that is a bit curvy and makes an acute angle downwards. That remains
Yeah.
the same. The color scheme
Yes.
also remains the same.
Yes.
Uh, that's it. What I can make of it.
Focus
Let
lights are added in the right side new car, new Jeep,
Yes.
and parental area slightly increased. I don't know. Maybe for a better aerodynamic.
Okay.
And
Okay. Let me give everyone a hint. Can we look at the indicator lamps? Does something look similar over there?
yeah, indicator lamps are below the headlights in this right side, or is it in the merged
No.
in the
So yes.
bumper next to bumpers?
Yes. So that is one thing that they kept the same. The headlamps are the same. Now, over here, Prikshit Rohila said it is new is wider. Yes. And why it is actually wider by somewhere around 81 which is massive in the car community, right? Not just in the car community, in any car. 81 wide means you talking about this much more space to sit in, basically. Like what, 3.5 inches we are talking about over there. So that's a lot of place which has increased in the car. Now just in the front, like the indicators that I was talking about, as you can see, both are square shaped, rectangular shaped, right? Not square shaped, they're rectangular shaped. 99% of cars today have got their indicators either in the ORVMs or either integrated into the headlamps. And yeah, the front indicators are always mostly integrated into the headlamp housing, but over here it's not the same. Now over here, when you look at the bumpers have to change. Okay, the old Thar had got metal bumpers. Now this image that I've taken is actually of the 2020 model. I was not finding a full frontal image with the white background of the metal bumper car, but if you would see a classic collector or someone driving in your area, and Thars are pretty common, so you'll be able to see that it has a metal bumper, which according to today's pedestrian safety requirements does not match. So imagine the metal bumper crashing into someone. That will cause a lot of damage as compared to a plastic bumper, which will bend and take all of the impact as much as possible. So then second thing are the fog lamps which have been added. Now the fog lamps added to the car is more of a gimmick actually, where since it's become a feature, so everyone wants to put it, so just for a small USP, that is an upselling point of the car. So hence the fog lamps have been added. Generally a person who's going to actually use fog lamps is going to take something like Clearwater or something like those big brands which focus and actually cut through the fog to give good clarity. So yes, another thing that you would see over here is this bash plate. So now one second, yeah. So now the bash plate over here on the front is actually called as a faux bash plate, or it's spelled as FAUX, which means a false bash plate. It is there so that you have the car, it completes the car and gives it kind of a visual appeal. But when you're talking about true off-roading vehicles, the cars that have been modified for off-roading, metal bash plate, most preferably iron, sheet metal, punched, so not punched, formed piece of sheet metal is taken and attached to the car, so that if a big stone or something is to hit the car from down when the car rams into it, it does not penetrate into the inner housing of the car, so it does not damage the differential, because this is a 4x4 drive vehicle, so you have a differential in the front as well. So it does not damage the differential, it does not damage any of the internal components of the car, so hence we add bash plates. So now just for the car to look complete and the car to look like it's made for off-road, a bash plate has been added. Now if you look at the front grills, they all have, both the cars have got this vertically slatted front grill. The newer Thar has got chrome accents on it, which does a very good job of defining the front grill. Now we look at the, oh yeah, one more thing that I had to add over here is if you look at the bonnet of the newer Thar is slightly raised. Now the reason for raising that is, if you read every review, no, they'll give for pedestrian safety compliance, but no one is going to explain what pedestrian safety compliance is over there. So basically, when you are designing the BIW of a car, I have done a couple of BIW projects, so I have a fair bit of idea in there. So pedestrian safety compliance is basically how much less damage you cause to a person the car is going to crash into. So when, now imagine this, this is a human being, for example, and a car is going to crash at his foot. Now this person is going to go and bang the car from a much higher height, as well as because of that change in impact, like basically the legs will move first and the head will move later. There's going to be a whipping effect where the last point to come in contact with the car would be the person's head. The person's head would hit the bonnet last, but because of this whip effect that comes into place, the head would hit the bonnet at a very high velocity and cause much more damage. Of course, the head is one of the most important parts of our body, so that's why this bonnet needed to be raised to match that safety compliance. So now if this is a person and you hit the person on the shoulder, the not shoulder of course, but somewhere at the rib line, you would be hitting the person, where the person's head is going to hit your bonnet at a lesser of a kind of whip angle that you will be getting onto the bonnet, and that would reduce the impact. Of course, the bonnet itself is going to be pedestrian safety compliant. When we say that, is the upper material or the outer of the bonnet. So the bonnet, the hood or the bonnet is made out of two parts. One is the inner panel and the outer panel. So the outer panel is going to be made of a much softer metal, and it can bend easily. So when metal bends, it absorbs the energy, basically whatever energy is going to come. So the person's head is going to be safe. The head won't take all of the energy and crack the skull and things like that. Rather, the bonnet would try and take as much of the energy and prevent the person from actually being damaged. So that is another thing that we can see in the front of the car. Now let's look at the side of the car. Now there are a couple of things that are same and couple of things that have changed over here as well. 99% changes are not much prominent on the side. So if someone could point out what all is different in the newer versus the older model. So yeah, the fuel cap direction is one of them. Don't point it out because that's not that relevant to design. Does anyone want to share or no?
Why the wheelbase?
I didn't get you, Madhusudan.
But this looks to be vision from the rear side has narrowed down. Side vision,
Yes,
side
yes.
vision,
Narrowed
and
down.
also backside door.
Yeah,
I find okay, Sheldon. Sorry to say,
yeah, yeah.
I'm really not comfortable with some of these limitations. What my son has possessing, but I have to love it because he has already taken. We also made three, four trips already. Long trip to Shimoga, but it is a nice car, nice Jeep. At least I have a great respect for Mahindra because Mahindra's always involve, right from A to Z in the design, market acceptance, feedback. Because I was also involved in the diesel fuel injection equipment application work in the sometime in the 1985 to 1990 and so.
Sir,
Good.
like
Carry on.
if you want to enjoy the car, no, what I would suggest is put your son at the back and you take the wheel.
Okay, my wife should allow me now. Hello, Sedan.
Are you
Yeah,
kidding
he
me?
says
Yeah,
very comfortable. My
yeah, it's a
daughter-in-law
driver's
drives.
car.
My daughter-in-law drives, but now I don't have that.
Take it
You
for a
know,
spin, sir.
yeah, yeah. Sometime
So
I
yes,
always.
coming back to design, Madhusudan, you
The
were saying
window
something.
angle is the front window angle is bit more highly angled for the aerodynamic thing, and the
Yes,
rear window angle is being made almost like 90 degree
yes,
for
yes,
preventing that
Definitely,
noise.
cost would have gone up with the latest version, I think.
yes. Yeah, Madhusudan, continue.
Yeah, the front window angle has been changed, and the front and the back window, I mean, the rear and the front window angle has been changed aerodynamically for it.
Yes, yes. So the windows, yes, there has been a lot of changes in the windows. However, they have tried to keep it as same as possible so that it matches the looks. Now, over here, Jitesh has said driver compartment is wider than earlier. Yes, Jitesh, that is one of the bigger changes that they made in the car structure. And Madhusudan also pointed out that the wheelbase has changed, has increased to certain limit. So that has what is enabled to increase the leg space in the car. And the previous car only came with facing row seats at the back where the passenger would sit sideways. So if sitting like this, the car is moving in this direction, and that was the only option. Now what they have done is they've changed it. So if I'm sitting like this at the rear, I'm going in this direction. So the bucket seats have been added. So of course, when you're going to add bucket seats, you would need to look at leg room of the rear passengers as well. So hence the wheelbase increased. Now, okay, come on. Now Madhusudan has spoken, Jayan has spoken. Atharva, you spoke.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me. What's your view on this?
So yes, so basically they went for the line structure, that is where the front window is the end of front window, that is below the front window, that match flush the rear window to the that black section.
Yeah.
So basically design changes, and uh, they have kept basically everything same. And again, as they increase the wheelbase, they are much gained so much space to include many things, and change some sitting arrangement, driving capabilities, and all.
Yes. Now I'll come back to all of these points. Okay. I'll just listen to what everyone has to say. Mandy, you have anything to say about this? Okay. So many people are there in the meeting. Come on, others also can keep talking. Every time I'm talking to the same group, so it's becoming like a small group conversation over here. If others want to chip in, please do.
Hi, sir. Actually, the fender lining are different in the fender lining. The width of the fender lining is different in the new one.
Yes, the overall shape has been kept the same, but the lining has changed, as you mentioned. So, okay, so I'll give you all one hint. Okay, it's related to aerodynamics. One thing, one angle has changed slightly. If someone can point out that angle.
Yeah, the minimum should be 50 degree for the rear side.
No,
Front
so I'm
bonnet,
not talking that.
From front side, the angle is
front
less.
bonnet has been aerodynamically shaped so that drag coefficient must have come down.
Reduce. Of course. Everyone is looking at the metal parts. Let me tell you, it's not a metal part. It's something different. Windscreen is more obtuse. Thank you, Mohammed. Mohammed has come to the rescue on this one. Yes. So when you're looking at the windscreen angle on the older Thar, as I told you, it was the design was inspired by the Jeep's design. So that car had a straight front windscreen. So higher speed performance, higher speed stability was much lesser because, of course, as Jayana sir also mentioned, that aerodynamic drag factor that comes into play, so that would cause a lot of instability, and the speeds would be lesser, the fuel consumption would be higher, and things like that. In the newer car, the bonnet angle, the angle of attack basically has been changed so that the car can cut through air slightly better. It is not the epitome of aerodynamics on this car, but of course aerodynamics is will play a major role when you're talking about something that is so boxy and that is so big in size in general. Now let's look at the rear of the car. Now the rear of the car, I would say, are completely different from each other. And as such, so if anyone wants to, so we'll quickly go over the rear. Uh, if anyone wants to speak something about the rear of the vehicle. Atharva,
Looks
Madhusudan.
to be added features and ethics have been improved by seeing outside.
Okay,
And
so there.
also, you can't compare because a left side vehicle is with a tarpaulin, looks to be. This is a metallic thing.
So
I
no, no.
don't
So
think we can
basically,
compare.
newer model
Otherwise,
comes with.
tile pipes and other things have been definitely looking better.
Yeah.
And
So there is
bumper
one more
has
thing.
been bumper has been integrated part of the looks to be a body.
Yes, yes, that is very important actually. So
Not to
the
be
bumper
mentioned.
point, I'll just pause you for 1 second, Jaina. So the bumper point that Jaina has mentioned over here is again metal bumper. If someone were to crash into a metal bumper, the other car would sustain extreme amounts of damage, and the Thar would of course go away unscathed. But in such a scenario, when you have a metal bumper, it could detach from the vehicle and cause. Manish, you're unmuted. Yeah, so basically the metal bumper could detach and cause damage to actually to someone else. When you integrate the rear bumper inside the car, you mitigate all of those risks. Apart from that, now if you see the
Height is
ground
also
clearance,
reduced, I think, no?
yes,
1930 mm to
yes.
1844 mm.
I was going to come to that. Ground clearance has increased. So, Ruban, yes, the ground clearance has increased, the height has reduced. Now, people would think that, this is going to negatively impact the room inside the car. That's not true. A 6 footer can comfortably sit in the car, even at the rear seats, that is. So, yes, Ruban, anyone else wants to add some points? Jan has made the point of height, Ruban has made the point of
Shape
the
of
increased
indicator.
ground. Shape of, yes, yes. So tell me, what's is it same or is it different?
Different, different.
Okay, okay. So you would say it is different. I would say it is same. Basically, when you're just talking about the unit itself, the units are completely different. But when you're looking at the aesthetic of the car from the rear, uh, the newer Thar again comes with those squares for indicators. The older Thar also had it. The newer Thar also has got something in the rectangular format. And I couldn't find an image of it, but when I saw the car in person and drove it also, so when you look at the rear tail lamp like when you look at the tail lamp on this car, it looks something like a jerry can. If people don't know what a jerry can is, you may have seen it in movies or you may have seen it in real life. It's a red color can, uh, somewhere around maybe 2 feet in height or something like that. It's as big as a tire only, and that is where you fill the extra fuel for your vehicle. So like, of course, the older car was diesel, so you will fill diesel for that. You get, if your car runs on petrol, you fill petrol in that. You fill the fuel for your vehicle and you mount it to the back of your vehicle. So just as a play on your eyes or things like that, they have decided to make the rear tail lamp look like tiny jerry cans. So that is another thing when it comes to design. Design is a very subjective thing. It is not like, okay, so this is very formal and this will look very businessy, and that's where I'll take it. So that is one aspect of design. The other aspect of design is play with it, make it fun. And that's what the engineers at Mahindra, the design engineers, went ahead with. Now again, when you look at the tail section, right now, as Jana mentioned that the left one is made, it's a soft top, and the right one is a hard top variant. So basically,
Be definitely
the
stable.
new Thar.
New car looks to be more stable.
Yes, yes, I was coming to that. So, yeah, like when I was coming, so it comes with three options. It comes with removable soft top. It comes with a convertible hard top. No, sorry, 1 second. It comes with a convertible soft top and a hard top. So it depends on what you want to do basically with it. If you want to drive without the top, you can drive without the top as well. And now coming to stability of the vehicle. Now the rear image shows it more than the front image. Is the car has got wider, the track width that we call has widened. Now what that does, the track width widens, the height reduced. Now the biggest issue with tall cars is, of course, you can, you're sitting about traffic and that is fun. But when you take a sharp turn, when you take turns at very high speeds, there's a chance of a rollover. you'll feel body roll, you'll feel the car, and in extreme cases your car will roll over and slip, fly out of the road and things like that. And this is a very similar thing that the Tata Nano faced, where the car was too narrow and it was tall to accommodate taller people. But then because of that, it had that body roll issues. Same with the Maruti Ignis. They sell it as an USP, calling it a tall boy design. But that tall boy design does give it the look, but again it takes away when it comes to stability at higher speeds. Same when you look at any supercar, the car is going to be super low because they cannot go ahead and make it as wide, right? So they got to make it low. But now this car, since it needs to be tall, they have to widen it. If you look at Hummers are massive cars. The weight itself is so much. So over there, if you're not even going to consider the height, just to balance that weight out, they got to make the track with that wide so the car is stable on turns and can handle much better. Now let's come to the interiors. So the newer car, basically the older car was raw. Everything was raw. The cabin was a bit noisy and things like that was there in the car. The newer car, they made it quieter. They made it more palatable to drive. So now that's why you can take your family. Just imagine listening to engine noises and having two kids at the back constantly screaming. That will drive any person mad, right? So and engine noise is yet fun. You enjoy the sound, the rumbling of an engine. In the older car, you would have suspension noise. Then you could hear the chassis creaking sometimes, because this is not a monocoque design. Neither of these cars are monocoques. When I say monocoque, means the entire chassis is one piece. Most of the cars that you see today, you see, take your Fortuners, you take your Santros, and things like that, they are all monocoques. They are made out of one piece. This is called as a ladder frame design vehicle. The older Thar was made up of tubular frame. If someone is interested, you can hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'll explain these differences on call between a tubular frame and a ladder frame. So basically, you have your chassis differently. If I were to take a big ass claw and grab the top of the car and pull it, the chassis would stay there and the top of the car would come out. So basically, that's how this is made. So you have your lower chassis and then you have your body mounted on it. Now when this happens, the overall roll stability of your car reduces, and the car becomes slightly more noisier. But when you are talking about taking the car off-roading, which this car is made for, that's when the ladder frame chassis, basically your chassis where all of your drivetrain, uh, your differentials, your engine, everything is going to be mounted onto that chassis. So this thing is very rugged and cannot be bent that easily. So when you hit a rock or things like that, it'll just take it'll not bend. And if it bends, then that chassis is gone, it's useless. Okay, so it is so rugged. So that's why the older like these cars come with a proper chassis. And the monocoque cars, the other cars, when you try and take them off-roading, the biggest fear that you have is if something hits it too hard, it will bend the chassis and you may have your entire car be twisted sometimes. And if there are really funny videos on YouTube where people took a monocoque car out there, trashed it, and when they came back, the car was visually disfigured. So this car won't, that won't happen. Which ladder chassis? Newer old? Okay, so ladder chassis is there in the newer one. The older one came with a tubular chassis. So yeah, so Madhusudan asked that question. Apart from that, on the interiors of this car, it is night and day when you're talking about difference. So the car comes with driving modes and everything that we'll discuss later. But the infotainment system that you see, that is splash resistant. The speakers are splash resistant, and the speakers are not there on the doors. Uh, and the speakers are there on the roof of the car. They're not there on the doors. What that enables for this car, you could theoretically take a pressure washer and wash the inside of this car completely, and you would not damage anything because the interiors are splash proof. uh, when I say pressure washer, don't actually go and try to hose down things. You may end up damaging something because of the pressure. But yes, you could have water from outside enter your cabin. And there are something called a drain plugs also that have been implemented in the new model, where if you pull the drain plug out, you can it's like a bathtub thing where you pull it out and you can drain all the water that is accumulated in the car as well. Now, apart from that, the doors on both these cars are completely removable. So here again, we talk about the legacy factor of the old car could remove the doors. The new car also can remove the doors. So when you are driving with an open top and the doors out, everyone knows what kind of statement that makes, right? So that is also possible with this car. So hence they had to make it splash proof. So that makes it kind of water resistant to a certain degree. Now, yes, okay, this is like a quick run through. So the engine specs, where the power of course has to increase, the fuel efficiency has to increase from a older engine to a newer engine, and that is the norm of the industry, and everything happens now courtesy of Max About India for compiling this so well. The older car was a 5-speed model, this is the 6-speed model. Yes, and since these cars are four-wheel drive off-roaders, these cars also come with something called as a low and high gearbox. So a low and high gearbox is, it converts the gear ratios basically. So you could be on one low which produces immense amounts of torque but cannot go anything above 5 km per hour and things like that. That is there. And this high and low thing you will see in all off-road vehicles and on all heavy duty trucks which have to take steep climbs with a lot of weight. So this is basically what all has changed. And if you could see the price points, the price point also has gone all over the place. It is increased. And yes, one more thing that the new Thar has to accommodate, uh, as I told, a bigger group of people, is instead of having the older Thar only came with diesel manual, nothing else. The newer Thar comes with petrol manual with petrol automatic, diesel manual with diesel automatic, and things like that. Sir, what is more important for an off-road vehicle? Torque or horsepower? Torque. Akshat, torque any day. So what your horsepower is basically, the formula of horsepower uses your torque and uses your engine RPM, the max RPM that your engine can reach. Jayana, yeah, tell me
Yeah,
now, Jayana.
which is the engine model being used in this?
In the newer one or the older one?
Both must be same if I am correct. They are
No, no,
supposed to
no.
meet a BS6 emission norm. It must be common rail with exhaust gas after treatment. Which is the engine model?
So in the diesel you have the M Hawk variant. In the petrol you have the M Stallion variant. In the new ones, the older one, I'm sorry, I don't know. I guess it's the M Hawk only, but the engine is completely different. You have in the older one you have got a 2.5-liter diesel turbocharged engine. In the newer one you have a 2.2-liter diesel turbocharged engine.
It
And
has
yes,
reduced the size, is it?
yes, they have reduced the size, increased the efficiency. And that is the norm of the industry. Your engine every year on year needs to improve. If your efficiency does
Oversizing the
not improve,
engine
yeah,
with increased turbocharger capacity. Any exhaust gas after treatment devices are there?
I didn't get you.
Exhaust gases have been treating with some catalytic converter,
That
DOC,
is,
DPF, and all.
yeah, that goes without saying, no, Jayana. If the car has to run on the Indian roads, it needs to meet the BS6 standards, and hence they will need to have chemical reactors like filtering out the most harmful gases and then sending it out. Otherwise, the car wouldn't be allowed to run on the road. So your catalytic converters and all will go without saying, and they will reduce the power also in some vehicles to certain degree, but again it is necessary for the environment and the people you're going to share the road and everything with. So yes, now let's come to what did we learn. So I have already made a couple of points over here. So okay, yeah, so I am not going to fill this. I need you guys to tell me what should I type in over here.
Should make a bigger screen we can see.
uh Bigger screen, that would be slightly
What
difficult.
a what a not able to read.
Yeah,
What,
no. So it's just like, what did we
what
learn
did
in
we
this session?
learn? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe new features, new aspirations, new aspirations in the market, and also safety features added. Safety feature.
Jana, it is 1 point per person. Okay, so new features and aspirations. So legacy of the Thar. Okay, Madhusudan. I'll say legacy of automobiles in general, because this will, every legacy car will have this to certain extent. Legacy of models, car models. Okay. Any other points? Guys, spam the
My
comment box.
my point is performance improvements and safety features are very very important. Comforts,
Okay, okay.
performance, safety, and comforts.
Um, Performance and safety features increased. Yes. Oh yeah, comfort also. You said one more thing. I'll add that. Okay. Atharva, sir, what about mileage? Ruban, of course, the mileage will have to be comparable or it needs to increase. If it reduces, the car will be shredded in the market. Improved engine specifications. Yes, upgraded engines. Okay. Anyone else? Efficiency is increased. Vinayak, I'll take yours and Suyash's answer together because efficiency and improvement on engine is the same thing.
What
Design
are
of
the what are the this specification and fuel consumption kilometers per liter as specified at ARIA?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I did not go through that. This is like the general engine spec that I found on this sheet. That you will get on Google. Just your first Google screen search will provide you with that information. I basically am here to discuss the design and the legacy that they have managed to capture from the older to the newer models. So, guys, come on, give me more points. I'll stop at 8 points and then I'll just sum this session up and then give you all your feedback forms for the certificates and also the this ergonomics improvement. Yes, 101%.
Is there any automated version, automated
Yes,
gear version?
yes, in the newer one it is more ground clearance and 6 speed. So easy drivability and of
I think
Ruban. Yeah.
automated version is there in the new Thar.
Yes. Jenna, I'm just focusing on the answers right now. We'll continue the discussion during the feedback form. So when everyone is filling the feedback form, we'll talk then. Now we'll just quickly wind this up because we have reached the 5 o'clock time and people may already be having predefined this. Okay, so guys, Ruban has said increase more ground clearance and 6 speed gearbox, which is very important. Where when you're talking about highway cruising, the sixth gear, aerodynamics by Mandy said the aerodynamics have improved. Vinayak says aesthetics, stability increased. Yes, Ruban, that is also very necessary. Horsepower increase. Rion is a petrol head like me, I guess, where the power matters a lot to us. So
Prime
integration of modern,
importance is a cost, Sheldon. For
yeah.
Indian customers, for Indian,
So
cost plays a very important role. This has to be first point.
yes, that is true. The cost and the mileage also, not only the cost. Integration of
Already
modern
you have
design with
increased 3.5 lakhs to 5 lakhs already from older to new one.
integration of modern design with technical advancement in overall performance. Uh, Okay, Atharva, you have made a very good point. This is actually, guys, what just go and see what Atharva has actually typed, and it actually makes a lot of sense where you have taken an older car, added all of your modern tech to it, made it a much better version of itself. So the older Thar has, got all of these new things that make it a better driving vehicle. Now, what I'll do is I'll just sum the entire thing up really quickly. Change in chassis. Yes, Rohit. Again, that is the dynamics of the car has improved, and everything, the ground clearance, the handling, and everything goes under the dynamics. Now the chassis also. So yes. Now what my main point that I had over here for this entire session is we need to understand what the companies are looking forward to when they are planning on upgrading models. So if you are looking forward to be a design engineer or something like that in life, what I would suggest is if you're looking at things, look at it from slightly different perspective, and you will understand the story. So the reason why I took this thing, the legacy car, is basically we see many car models, we see many things that have changed the world, and that is what companies want to preserve. So first we went through the NSX, then we looked at the Thar. Then when we are talking about Nissan, we have the Nissan GTR. In Indian cars, I'm not getting that many as of now. I am sure Indian cars also we will be having. Oh yes, yes, one more. I remember the Chetak scooter and the new Chetak electric. They also share very similar, design cues. In today's world we called it a neo retro design, where the vehicle looks old but it has got all modern day features, so things like that. So when the main goal that I had of this entire thing is of course to communicate with every one of you, and that's always fun. Apart from that, I just wanted you to get an idea that when we are looking at things that older models, when they are being revamped and bought to the newer era for sales, you can see a lot of modifications, you can see a lot of changes that occur, which make them way make them much better and things like that. So now guys, I'll be sending you the feedback form. Just give me a second. Okay. One more thing. Just give me 5 minutes of your time. I'll run you through our website. So if you are interested in being a design engineer, you can just go through our courses once and see if anything matches your needs. And to be very honest, if you are looking forward to get into the field of design, first, it's a very tough climb, and designing for a OEM is going to be a tough part where they would expect a couple of things from you. So I'll just run you through ETG's website once. You'll get a fair idea of what is what and how it is. So this is our website when you come to it. Okay, very nice introduction. Thank you, Jaina, for attending. Um, Okay, so now when we look at this over here, when you come to internship and courses, if you're interested in design, you can go to engineering design CAD. If you're someone who's in the final year of engineering, who has completed it, or is in the second year of engineering, it is great if you could enroll in one of these programs. That is a specialization program. Now, this thing has been designed looking at for people like ourselves also, like when we guys were in engineering, when we guys were in like I did my mechanical, and when we were in engineering, that time it was a big issue for us to get through, basically to understand what is what and how to understand. So we didn't have things clear and what is going on in the industry. So now for you guys, what we've done is we've gone through all the different job requirements that is there in the industry. Somewhere around 5 to 600 jobs we went through, and we saw that plain design engineering just does not cut it. If you just know how to design, it won't cut it. So for that, we have built this course, and over here we've got things like automotive plastic design. So here you will understand how to design the plastic components in a car, the interior plastic components, the bumper that I was talking about. You learn to design those. Then you've got automotive sheet metal design, where you learn to design the metal structures of a car, how it is designed for taking impacts, how it is designed for taking rollovers and things like that. Then you've got BIW fixture design. So what BIW fixture design is going to teach you is basically how these parts are manufactured, the fixtures that hold these parts together for welding, for painting, and things like that. Then you have got structural analysis of BIW, which is nothing but the FEA part of it. So the FEA, like you'll understand what FEA is, and let me tell you, it's completely different from the FEA that you study in college. Basically, you won't be having much hand calculations and things like that. It would be software based. You would learn how to you basically learn how to understand the bigger picture and then integrate all of that into a software. Then you've got aerodynamics and thermal analysis of a vehicle, which is again very important when you're looking at the design perspective and how the car would function. And the thermal analysis would help you. And today's with the boom in electric vehicle, a lot of thermal analysts are needed who can calculate how much heat a battery would generate, and whether it would cause damage to the components of a car, or whether it could cause discomfort to the passengers, or maybe cause damage to the passengers if it crosses a certain degree. And then you have the vehicle dynamics course. So the vehicle dynamics course is optional if you want to, like, if after you've taken the specialization, if you don't want to do it, you don't do it. But of course, if you do it, it will increase your portfolio, and you'll be able to understand how vehicles function. Now here you would be working on major projects, that is their industry relevant projects, where you learn how to design the front bumper for a muscle car. Basically, that is the Dodge Demon that we have taken in this example. Then you have interior design, where you learn to design the center console, you learn to design car hood, you learn to design the roof of an SUV. Then you learn different things in the fixture domain, how to design automated fixtures for robotic welding, how do you design fixtures for manual welding, how do you design hemming fixtures. Hemming is basically a process that is performed in the automotive industry, where welding cannot be done, where surface finish is very necessary and things like that. Then in the vehicle dynamics course, you learn how to design double wishbone suspension. In aerodynamics, you learn how to perform the aerodynamic analysis on the front wing of a Formula One car and things like that. So I would highly suggest you, go through the courses once and see which works for you. We've got three specialization courses: one in EV, one in design and CAE, that is, and that is the course that I'll personally be handling. And then you also have in mechatronics, specialization in mechatronics. See what works for you, and that will help you a lot. So I'm posting the website details in the chat box. I'll also be sending you the link for your feedback form as well. So just give me 1 second. Mm. Does anyone want to discuss anything? Anyone has any doubts or any things to add to what we have discussed? Things that which you may have not spoken previously and we may have gone through fast over there, something like that. Guys, unmute here. We can speak. I won't feel bad. Make sure you're filling the feedback form, without which you won't be getting the certificates. So fill the feedback form out. That is the second link. And lastly, I've mentioned a code. Now this code is your discount code. That is S February 21. So what this code will do is it will give you somewhere around a 20% discount on our courses. And yes, one more thing. When you go to the website, please click on the ask an expert button, where a mentor will directly contact you, and you can get all of your doubts cleared over there regarding this. Apart from that, if anyone is watching online on YouTube or is watching at a later date, you know uh, the feedback form will be posted in the description over there. Jayana, electric vehicles are also to be focused for Indian application. BMS, mileage per charge, focus on lowering the cost of vehicles. Jayana, all of this is going to be covered in our electric vehicle specialization program, where, of course, EV is the future and we are working to make it better. And thank you so much, Jayana, for such a great feedback. So, Ruben, thank you so much for joining. Please fill your feedback forms out. If you want, I'll paste the link again. Thank you, Madhusudan. Have a great day. Yeah, so I've pasted the link again. I'll paste it two more times or something if you'll need it. Thank you, Manish. Fill the feedback form
Not
without
able to open the link.
the feedback form.
Yes.
1 second. Just click on it. It is opening. It is public.
I don't know why it is not. Is it in
Guys,
the?
is anyone else having an issue with that?
Why don't you send it in the? This.
No, the
Hello.
link is working.
It's
No
opening,
link.
right, Suresh?
Yeah,
No.
it's working.
Janet, try clicking on it once, or do one thing. If you're on phone, copy and paste it in your browser. That's how it will be able to open up. Because it is public. I just checked. Thanks.
Put it in the WhatsApp group.
We do not have a WhatsApp group for this as of now.
Somebody has sent all these details from no this WhatsApp group. I don't know who has sent. SAE, I think, no.
Oh, you have joined via the SAE group.
SA India, yeah. And
Yes,
the
yes.
Elite Techno Groups.
Okay, okay,
We are
okay.
not able to really open that link, Sheldon, from your chat box.
Oh, okay, okay. This is basically the feedback link. So I'll try and get it to you. Actually,
I have
yeah.
given my contact details. You can share it. I will send you one mail also requesting some of the needs of the particularly for academicians,
Yeah.
engineers who wanted to do. At least we have started the inspiring the students right from fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth semester to get into such type of courses. The main
Yes.
problem is one of the thing I don't want to tell you in front of everybody. One is because of all these disturbances
Hello.
of
Hello.
pandemic, and also some constraint for their. But we can discuss.
Hello. Sure, sure. I'll give you a call. Thank you for sharing industry. Always welcome, Nitish. Guys, please make a point to join my seminars here. The numbers are very bad. I put a lot of effort into this. So if all of you all join, the future seminars, I'll try and keep it like today's seminar interactive, where you can speak whenever you want to, and that will increase the interaction, and everyone gets to learn a lot, because even I get to learn a lot from you guys. Being so helpful for everyone. Always welcome, Nishant.
You have to share the link
Yes,
if you
I, I'll,
want to
I'll,
feedback.
I'll
I
send you
don't
the
know
link. I'll
how
send you
to
the
do it.
link. Since this, but yeah, one kind request, guys: do not put your personal information in the chat box, because this session is going to be recorded and it will go on YouTube. So do not put your personal link into the chat box. Jana sir, I will be contacting you.
Yeah, I got it. I got the link. I will
Okay,
share it. Maybe I will get in contact with you, share my long
great.
experiences so that you can do a good work, contribute to the welfare of the students, and they can get into good jobs also.
Yes, guys, if anyone wants, y'all can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. It is Sheldon Coutinho, same profile picture. So, any questions if you all have or have regarding design, basically, I'm a design engineer, so I'll be able to help you out with that. Or anything related to your engineering, also, you can ask me. I've got a really good team of engineers working with me. So, we'll try and solve your doubts also as well, as far as possible, you know, on our end, that is. Thank you, Dubro. So, everyone has filled their feedback form? If yes, then you all can leave the meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Jana sir,
Yeah,
I'll be sending you a
I
mail
I
from my
got a
end.
I got a link opened. Let me just take 5-10 minutes. I will send a feedback, but please keep in contact.
Yes, yes, I'll be calling you.
Oh,
Since we'll work towards the welfare of
yeah, yeah,
students.
yeah.
Great, great. So if everyone has filled, you all can leave the meeting. I'll be ending the meeting in the next 2 minutes. I've got another meeting to attend.
But I can send this feedback little later also, no?
Yes, 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 yes. After I close the meeting, also you can send the
Oh,
feedback form. No issues. The feedback form will be live throughout. So whenever you want to fill it, you can fill it after you've attended the
after you
meeting.
close also.
Yes, yes. So
All are important key points only, Mr. Sheldon. We can fill all also, no?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You can fill all the points. Bye bye,
Yes.
Roban. Bye, Rion. Okay, so guys, I'll be leaving the meeting now. After you are done filling the feed, I'll just paste the feedback form once more. After I'm done pasting, I'll be leaving now. Okay, bye bye. If you all need to get in touch, I'll be available on LinkedIn. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Bye bye.